Let's dive in. Welcome to the Quietly Confident Introvert. Today we're getting empowered to succeed in 2024. I'm away at the moment for the weekend and decided that this is a great time to actually record this episode for you as my thoughts are clearer and I also am on that trajectory of working on goals. Everybody talks about goals, although I see it differently. Tend to talk more about moving from goals into growth. So today our topic is going to be 5 tips for achieving your goals as an introvert. So that's going to be our topic today because I am an action and results driven coach. These days, my clients have a love hate relationship with me. So they hate when I push them and challenge them, but they love when I bring out my invisible pom poms and shake it in celebration for them having achieved the growth that they have desired, but haven't had anyone in their lives to push them to achieve it. So many of us know that having that accountability, having someone at your corner challenging and pushing you is always the right way to go. Somebody that believes in you, can see your potential even when you can't see it. Like my previous coaches in the earlier years of my journey always said, borrow my belief. So they always say to me, borrow my belief even when you don't believe in yourself until you start believing in yourself. So this episode is about those 5 tips for achieving your goals as an introvert. So I want you to borrow my belief, but I'm also going to be sharing, uh, you know, how does this relate to introverts especially? Because there are some key things that introverts have to deal with. And two of them in particular is overwhelm and speed of taking action. And you might be thinking, well, sometimes extroverts are slow and sometimes they get overwhelmed as well. I agree. However, there's a difference and there's a reason why introverts get overwhelmed more or are slower many times in taking action. So let's talk about that before we dive into the tips I'm going to give you for how you can achieve your goals. One of the biggest challenges introverts face is feeling overwhelmed by things that extroverts can handle very, very easily. When I looked at an article written in a magazine, Introvert Dear, it talked about the fact that most people get exhausted by interaction with other people and things after 3 hours, whether you are introverts or extroverts. The difference is that extroverts can push over that discomfort and keep going because they gain their energy from actually those kind of interactions. Whereas introverts will start suffering what is called that introvert hangover. Basically, they shut down. Maybe you've experienced it. I have. My brain will shut down. I'll begin to feel my energy drain. I need to get away. It's not because I'm antisocial, but I just need to get away to find that space to recharge and get back. So when it comes to uh, things like maybe taking action or having things that you have to do, it's not because introverts are less capable of confident. It's not even because they dislike people or they dislike work. And many times it just feels like procrastination. But there's some scientific reasons for it, and I want to share that with you before going into those tips, because it's so useful that you understand first and foremost what are some of the barriers you will be facing. When you understand them, you go, ah, yeah, this is it. So how do I challenge myself beyond this barrier, beyond this situation? So the internal wiring of of introverts tends to deplete the more they expose themselves to stimulus. So if you think about it, when a phone is running out of battery, what happens? It dims the light. And unfortunately, you can't see the screen, especially when it gets to very low levels. When it gets to very low levels. And so because of that, it will then deplete the light just so that it can keep going. However, you can't see. So, but as soon as you plug it, the first thing that comes on is the light. So we have to recognize that is the same thing. That's a way of describing how introverts deplete energy. But also in Psychology Today, there's an article that was talked about three some key things that cause introverts to have that depletion. So it says that extroverts have a more active dopamine reward system than introverts. So dopamine is a neurotransmitter that helps control the brain's pleasure and reward centers. Basically, a more active dopamine reward system means that extroverts are more energized and excited by the possibility of rewards than introverts. So that's the other place where introverts and extroverts differ. In terms of goal achievement, we talked about in the previous episodes, one of the episodes where I talked about wealth creation, we talked about intrinsic and extrinsic motivation. I can't always pronounce it correctly. So introverts tend to be more intrinsically motivated, those things that are not always tangible to see. So it just feels almost like, yeah, they're not driven by the rewards, they're not driven by the accolades. Yes, but at the same time, those things help, and it's possible for everyone to get it. For example, this year, I was recognized as one of the top introverts to watch, one of the game changers to watch. Now, while I didn't actively chase that in my activities, it's nice to be recognized, it's nice to be acknowledged, and my intention behind wanting to be somebody who is watched is because I want to lead the way. I want to create impact by modeling what it means for an introvert to live in a world that has extroversion bias. The reason why introverts take longer is because we don't have the same dopamine reward system like extroverts do. The other thing is that we have longer neural pathways for processing data, which takes time, and this can lead to overstimulation or overwhelm. Takes time to process data, takes time to think things through. That's why in meetings you find being quiet just so that you can absorb, so that you can catch up with your brain, if you see what I mean. So, in terms of how it then affects your life when it comes to goal setting, goal achievement, you can set goals and take much longer to achieve them. But you can also start feeling discouraged when you are not achieving your goals. So, here I'm here to provide you with those tips that will help you take great action. Even though you are an introvert, you can still take great action in alignment with who you are and then succeed at what you really want to do. As a rule, I don't sit down and do a whole big exercise of just goal setting. I actually do goals and actions at the same time, because if I say, oh, this is what I want to achieve, sometimes I just put in place the action required. I'm not talking about just writing it down, I take it immediately. Already, there are some goals that I've already achieved, and we're just still starting the year. And that's because of that approach. So I recommend that approach, although it's just an overarching approach. The other thing is I don't always focus just on the SMART acronym, which is being specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, as well as time measured. I don't focus just on that. I have my own acronym that is driven by what I'm anchoring my goals on. What am I anchoring it on for the year? And last year I had an anchor around my goals, and it was for my business, and it was around achieving some marketing skills that I wanted. That was the core of everything that I did. Marketing and sales skills. And guess what? I achieved it because it was at the core, it was the anchor for every action that I took. So those are just two key two key advice that I want to offer aside from the tips. Now let's go on to the tips. But before we do that, I want to share with you that introvert or extrovert, we just need to understand that you can stretch beyond your comfort zone. You can stretch your comfort zone to achieve what you want. That's why the quote that says, don't pray for life to be easier. Instead, pray to be stronger resonates with me. And that was by John F. Kennedy. Why does it resonate with me? Because life will always throw you curveballs. Life will always put challenges your way. However, it's that resilience that you've built over the years through taking consistent actions, through having routines, through having strategies that you use to achieve the things you want to achieve. Those things are the things that will make you stronger to go through the barriers, to grow through the challenges. So I always say, don't just go through living your life, grow through living your life. So lots of quotes here for you to remember. So what are some of the 5 tips? Number one, number one that will work greatly for introverts is slow down. Slow right down to speed up. The problem is when you go to social media, you feel like you are lagging behind. I hear my clients say it all the time. Oh, I'm behind. And I said, by whose standard are you behind? And then they can't answer that question. That's because the yardstick they are using to measure themselves is those they are comparing and contrasting their own journey with. And when I start to tell them their own brilliance and say, focus on that, it helps them to slow down and take the actions they need to take. So you slow down, and when they slow down, they're able to speed up because you slow down to give yourself time to catch up with growth. Slow down and let growth catch up with you. And here are the ways that you can slow down. You can pace yourself and you can phase things. So pace yourself in terms of the actions, in terms of what you're doing, and then phase things into different phases. Break them down into small chunks. I tell my clients this. I said, how do you eat an elephant? And then they are perplexed by the question. How many people eat elephants? Yeah, I agree. Uh, it's unfair that some meats are kind of like good to eat in people's eyes and some are not. Elephant is one of those that people go, huh? Why should you eat an elephant? But there is a mentality and a mindset to apply. Whether it's an elephant or an apple or rice or bread, you eat everything you eat one bite at a time. Most things you cannot put it in your mouth, and swallow it all at once. You have to take bites. And many times you take bites in accordance with how the size of your mouth and how quickly you can chew. So that's why you have to face and pace yourself. Slow down in order to speed up. Because guess what? When you get better at doing what you're doing by slowing down and taking the action, the next time you do it, it will be quicker. So the first time you're doing it, you want to slow down. So if you've got a goal that you set and it's a stretch goal for the year, slow down and take action. Second, number 2 tip is focus on quality rather than quantity. Quality means that you can do more with less. And again, one of the areas where I particularly have focused on this year for that, on even last year, was in my eating and my habits for maintaining a healthy lifestyle. You see, many people focus on weight loss, but the problem is if your brain is being told that you need to be losing something, there's a tendency to want to protect yourself because loss is not a very, very palatable thing to swallow. Let's be honest. And it all defines depriving yourself of the good things of life. My hashtag for this year is live well. And that's because of all the things that I've put in place from last year, especially to do with the quality. When you focus, for example, on what you eat being rather than diet being about weight loss and depriving yourself, it's about the quality of things you eat. I love to eat things that are colorful, that are beautiful, that taste nice. If you improve the quality of that, if you're somebody who was eating junk before, focusing on that, your body begins to adjust to having the good nutrients it needs to feel less hungry, and therefore you eat less. And therefore, what happens? Weight loss that you want to achieve begins to happen. If you think about quality over quantity, where can you apply this in any area of your life? One area I would suggest when it comes to work and performance is how many tabs do you have open on your screen? How many tabs? Whenever you're working, pay attention to those number of tabs. Why? Because that is quantity, not quality. But if you learn to reduce the number of tabs, It helps your focus. And what helps your focus means that you get things done completely. You are a finisher. Lots of tabs indicates that you are a starter, not a finisher. So you are starting lots of things, getting distracted. So that is the key to moving from just quantity into quality. Number three, brain dumping. Brain dumping is great for introverts. It helps all introverts to get rid of that brain clutter, that mind clutter that slows you down. So that is why I created my Win Your Day journal. It is doing great things for people, helping them to take action by helping them to have a space. So my journal is not necessarily like when you have journaling, you sit down. You can use it for that as well. You sit down by the lakeside and you just write. Yes, that's part of it. That's part of brain dumping. But what I'm putting out here is, especially when it comes to taking action for your goals, either in business or to move your career forward. What you want to do is to dump everything that is cluttering your brain, that is stopping you from focusing on the key things. Once you've done that dumping, you now go ahead and ask yourself, which ones are the most important right now? Which ones will move me forward quicker, faster, and give me a lot more benefit in what I'm doing? And which one, for a business person, is going to make me income? As a business person, if you're solo working for yourself, you want income generating activities. Unfortunately, sometimes the foundations before the income generating activities are the painful stuff most of us don't like doing. So those are going to be important. You're going to put in place. You're going to put in place strategies to brain dump. Brain dump first thing in the morning, brain dump at night. Get the Win Your Day journal. It provides all the strategies that you need. It's on Amazon. You can get it in the US, you can get it in the UK. Get the Win Your Day journal. I promise you, you won't regret it. The fourth one, the fourth one that I also have found very useful and I help my clients to design a lifestyle around is consistent quality breaks. Just like we talked about the mobile phone example, consistent quality breaks will help you recharge. That is how we plug in. We plug in to the hormone that helps us. The hormone for introverts is acetylcholine. And acetylcholine is that creates calmness, that allows for introspection, that allows for regeneration of energy for introverts. So rather than the dopamine, which is not, we do need dopamine to get going to take action, but we when we get depleted of acetylcholine, we cannot function as introverts. Therefore, consistent quality breaks are important. This year, one of the investments I made was to buy a standing desk. The quality of that desk at the moment is beneficial. When I get tired and I'm getting lethargic and I'm sitting down and feeling the cranks, my wristwatch, which is my my coach, my health coach, tells me stand up and start moving. And I can just get up, focus on still what I'm doing, and make some movements, build energy. And I can also get away from my desk, go and do something away from my phone, go and do something away from work completely. The other thing is having a time where you freeze work. And many of us who are solopreneurs dealing and using social media is part of where we entertain ourselves. It's also part of where we do all our work. Unfortunately, that then also means that when you stop what you call your full work and you pick up social media, you're actually still at work. Remembering this helps you to know that you're not getting a quality break by scrolling on your phone. So, consistent quality breaks, fresh air. Fresh air is not only good for the lungs, it sends oxygen to the brain. That's why we need fresh air. And vitamin D. Vitamin D then energizes you. Quality breaks that will help you achieve your goals. They don't look like goal setting stuff, but they are so vital. Number five, crucially and very important, and I've talked about it all throughout this episode, and that is accountability, to stay away from distractions so that create you can use it to create a vicious circle of you know consistent delivery rather than a vicious circle of overstimulation, which leads to procrastination, which leads to overwhelm, and you just go around that circle. Whereas if you have accountability, you can actually create a great circle of consistent actions. It's like one of my mentors says, if you go out every day and there is a big tree and you take an axe, first you sharpen the axe. So number 1 to 4 that I've talked about is how you can sharpen your axe. Number 5 is take that axe and go out there and you hit the tree 5 times every day. Before you know it, in 30 days, that tree will fall down. I can guarantee you, using the Win Your Day journal, which gives you 60 days of action taking, will lead you down that route. Even if you just do it for 30 days consistently, putting actions in place, rolling them over, going and doing that. But also getting accountability. That's the benefit I bring to my clients, which is I check, I challenge, and I give them the advice that they need to go and take the action that they need to take. And many times the challenge comes from asking deep questions so that they can uncover the barriers that are stopping them from taking action. Because guess as a coach, I know that the answer lies within the client. I am not the one to give the answer because if I give the answer, it's my strategy. So, all this I'm sharing with you from tip 1 to 5 is all about going out there and taking your own action, adapting it to suit you how you please, but taking the right actions to arrive at your answers. So, that's it. Let me share again very quickly in summary what those 5 tips for achieving your goals as an introvert are. The first one is slow down to speed up. The second is focus on quality rather than quantity. The third one is brain dumping using a journal like your Win Your Day journal, which you can get on Amazon UK or US. Consistent quality breaks to allow you to recharge. Remember the phone, your mobile phone example, and the things we talked about when it comes to social media. Then number 5, accountability. Accountability leads to consistency and leads to real great progress because you get the checks and the challenges that you need to thrive. So that's it. I hope that you found this useful and it has set you up for a great year. As usual, in all my shows, I love to leave you with some great food for thought and great quotes. So here is one of them by Eleanor Roosevelt. And she says, you gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You can say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. So if you're full of doubt this year, if you're struggling with your confidence, remember this quote, write it somewhere. You can gain strength, courage, and confidence by every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You can say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. Until next time, remember to own your strengths, trust your journey, and let your inner introverted leader shine. God bless. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Quietly Confident Introverts. If you found today's discussion valuable, please subscribe, rate, review, and share the podcast with others. Your feedback fuels our mission to empower introverted women leaders. Remember, you can also connect with me, Patience Ogunbona, at The Visionary Introverted Woman, where we are dedicated to helping you discover your inner strength and lead with purpose. Stay true to your vision. Embrace your introverted superpowers, and let's make a lasting impact together. Until next time, stay confidently introverted.